I've recently given birth at the end of October and welcomed my daughter with my partner, not married, whom we'll call Sam. My daughter was born with a full head of hair that was even visible during the ultrasound. While I was still in the hospital, Sam explained to me about his culture, where once a baby turns 3 months old, their sibling will shave the baby's hair off. I wasn't comfortable with the idea, but I did say that I would think about it. After my discharge and when the baby turned 2 weeks old, it was time for the first part of his culture's custom. His family and relatives were welcoming and lovely, and everything went wonderfully. When it was time to go home, Sam's sister pulled me aside to chat about the next part. She explained that they do shave the baby's hair off as a means to get rid of hair that bad omens cling to. She also told me that it's fine if I refuse to go ahead with it. Sam continues to ask me about it often since then, but I explained to him that I feel uncomfortable with it. If I give in to it, it wouldn't be right because I would have been pressured into doing so. He also corrects himself and says it doesn't happen on the 3rd month. It happens when the baby is 6 weeks old. It didn't help that apparently his mother kept messaging and calling, asking when it was going to happen. I still refused to do it, and also pointed out how young she was and that her head was still soft. Finally, we visited his parents this past Sunday, and the visit went well. I did think maybe someone might mention it again, but no one did. 2 days later at 3:30 a.m., it's Sam's turn to care for the baby so I can get some rest. Instead, he tells me that he is going to move out. He hasn't moved in, so I don't know why he chose these choice of words, and that he wants to separate from me. I asked him what made him start this conversation, and he didn't say any particular reason and instead said how I just don't understand. He said he felt suffocated because he can't do what he wants to do, which is for her benefit, that shaving her head is best for her future because her hair will become thicker. He doesn't want her to have my hair. I am Asian, so my hair is straight and thin. Sam also got mad at me, saying he wanted to be a model once and said, "You don't think I want that for her too? But now she's going to have thin hair." He said that his family has become fed up as well and are angry about it. I understand I might be the jerk here because due to me, his first child isn't experiencing his culture's customs as she should. He told me he got fed up with asking me anymore and that her hair is dirty hair because it's womb hair. For me, I'm just happy my baby is healthy because I have preeclampsia, which is how I lost my first baby 2 years ago. I feel like I'm being protective, maybe even overprotective. I think I should be justified in how I feel, but maybe I'm being too sensitive about this and not being more trusting. Am I the idiot? Edit. I was asked why I'm with him. We aren't married, as I said, and we aren't a couple. For me, I see us as 2 parents who I thought would be cooperating and being a team. I've asked him in the past to leave me be when things didn't work out with us, but he seemed to change his behaviors. The loss of our firstborn also brought us closer together. He also made it clear in the past that he never intended to marry or date someone from his same nationality, as he wasn't interested in that. Edit 2. Someone asked about the sibling shaving her head. By sibling, I meant that Sam's sister would be the one to shave my daughter. Edit 3. I've read some comments about why these traditional customs were not discussed before the pregnancy or even during it, especially with the discrepancy in the when to shave her hair time frame. When I asked Sam about it, he told me it was because he had been away from his family for so long he didn't know the exact details of it. Even learning about who was to shave our baby's head, I did not learn until he corrected himself when she was almost 6 weeks old. Edit 4. To add to the above, cultural customs were not discussed because none of the other customs he practices were shared with me. We are not married, for one. For me, yes, we have cultural customs, but we aren't so strict with them. If anything, I would do things related to my religion. I am Christian, and even then, I am not religiously strict. He communicated to me while I was in the hospital that he wished for our daughter to grow up a bit and let her decide for herself what religion she could choose. I would like for her to respect both religions and thought his suggestion is fair. But he thinks I might baptize her behind his back, or me and my family force Christianity onto her. I tried to tell him that my mother said it's up to us to decide and not anyone else. He had said last week that he's okay with her being Christian as long as she didn't stray from it and grow up confused. However, the night he said he would move out, he asked me what my takeaway was. I said it seemed he was okay with her becoming a Christian, but I wasn't rushing her to be one ASAP. He replied with, "Fuck no. Frick that. She won't be Christian, and she won't be my religion either." Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This sounds like my husband's culture, and he was the one who put an end to it. Told off any family members who wanted it. When they used the excuse of thicker hair, he just said that's nonsense, and that's not how it works. Happy to say that all my kids proved them wrong by having thick hair. Not the idiot. Better for him to leave. Comment 2. He's trying to control your behavior. It sounds like he threatened a breakup to force you into submission. Give in to my demands or I'll leave you and our newborn. What a stand-up man and father. Good riddance, Sam. I'm sorry that you had a child with him before seeing who he is when he does not get his way. Not the idiot. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and support on my last post. It's been a wild couple of weeks, and I've got quite the update for you all. So after Sam dropped the bombshell about wanting to separate, things got really tense. I was trying to process everything while also taking care of our daughter, who, by the way, is growing so fast and still has that amazing head of hair. I was hurt and confused, but I also had to stay strong for her. A few days after our big argument, Sam's mom called me. I was bracing myself for another round of pressure about the hair shaving, but to my surprise, she apologized. She said she didn't realize how much stress they were putting on me, especially after everything I went through with my first pregnancy. She even admitted that maybe they were too focused on tradition and not enough on what's best for our baby right now. Sam's sister, who had been supportive from the start, came over to help me out and talk. She told me that Sam had been feeling really torn between his family's expectations and our little family. She also let slip that Sam had been talking about how he missed modeling and how he felt like he had given up a part of himself when he became a dad. It was a side of Sam I hadn't really seen before, and it made me see things from a different perspective. Meanwhile, Sam was staying with a friend, and we weren't talking much. But then, one evening, he showed up at my door. He looked exhausted and, honestly, a little lost. He asked if we could talk, and I agreed, though I was still on guard. We sat down, and he started to open up about how he's been feeling. He told me he was sorry for how he acted and that he didn't really want to leave, but he felt like he was losing himself. He said he was scared that our daughter would grow up not knowing his culture, but he also didn't want to force anything on her or me. I listened and then shared my own fears. I told him how important it was for me to protect our daughter, especially after losing our first baby. I explained that I want her to know both of our cultures, but I also want her to make her own choices when she's ready. It was a long conversation, and there were tears on both sides. But by the end of it, we reached a sort of understanding. We agreed to take things slow and try to find a balance that works for all of us. The next day, Sam came over and spent time with our daughter. He was so gentle with her, and I could tell he really did love her. We didn't talk about hair or culture or religion, we just focused on being parents. As for the hair shaving, we decided to hold off on it for now. Sam's family wasn't thrilled, but they respected our decision. And honestly, it felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Things aren't perfect, but they're better. Sam and I are communicating more and trying to understand each other's points of view. He's even started to look into modeling gigs again, something I fully support if it makes him happy. Our daughter is thriving, and that's what's most important. She started to smile and coo, and every time she does, it's like a little piece of sunshine in our lives. My girlfriend went nuclear when I joked about the Portugal trip's sleeping arrangements. She expected romance, but I prioritized the groomsmen. She's about to teach me a lesson in respect, and I'll be the one alone. So context. I, 30-year-old man, have been seeing my girlfriend, 30-year-old woman, for around 2 years. All is great, no complaints. I introduced her to my childhood friends roughly a year ago, and they all like her a lot. My best friend Mike is getting married to Julie, and we are all very happy about it. I've been asked to be the best man, which I'm delighted about too. Now, Mike and Julie are planning a wedding abroad in a very small venue in Portugal. Most of the guests will be staying around 30 minutes from the venue, with the exception of their immediate families and wedding parties. My girlfriend has been invited to come with me. However, my best friend told me it's a 4-day event to give everyone a bit of a vacation. So day 1 will be wedding prep and hanging out with the groomsmen. Day 2 will be the ceremony and food dancing. Day 3 will be the after party with Mike and Julie. And day 4 is for recovery and going home, etc. Mike has booked a room at his venue for him, the groomsmen, and me at no cost to myself. When I asked about the groomsmen's bridesmaids' significant others, Julie and Mike expressed how they want their best friends to stay at the venue with them for the 4 days/3 nights, since all but 2 of the wedding party are single, which I was very happy about. The venue is so small that it has no extra rooms or capacity for other guests, so I'll be sharing a room with a few guys for the days I'm in Portugal. I told my girlfriend this, and she asked me which days I'd be spending with her. I advised her that she would check into the hotel on day 1 and we would hang out in the morning afternoon, but then I'm needed as the best man and to mingle with the groomsmen. So she would stay at the hotel and get to know the guests I've introduced to her before. Day 2, there's a wedding bus planned for the hotel to bring her to the venue in the morning, and later that night there will be a return trip to the hotel. Day 3, she would need to get a taxi over to the venue to hang out, or I'll go back to the hotel for night 3. She then got upset, saying she would be coming all the way to Portugal, essentially by herself, to be alone for most of 3 days. I told her that as the best man, I'm needed, and my friends would be sad if I didn't stay with them in the venue for the wedding event. She understood the night before, as I'll be needed in the morning of the ceremony, but she wanted to compromise and have me come to the hotel to stay with her on the night of the wedding, since there is no room at the venue for her to stay with me. I told her I can't do that to my friends, and she said I'm not considering her feelings, even though I'm flying over with her and flying back with her. Plus, she'd know some of the guests in the hotel from me introducing them as part of my group of friends. So am I being a jerk here? Added context, I'll be covering her flight, hotel, and taxis. My room is covered by the groom, and I covered my own flight. My parents think I'm not a jerk here. But some of our friends think it's weird that I'd bring her but not spend a single night with her. Question 1. Why can't I spend the night with her? The bride and groom really want their best friends, the wedding parties, with them in the venue as they've always pictured it. Question 2. Introvert, extrovert. We can be a bit of both. Sometimes I'm the more introverted one, gaming, etc. Other times it's her, reading, etc. But we are both outgoing. Edited for spelling and update. I'm covering the vacation/trip as that is only fair, and I'll be spending the wedding night and night 3 with her. I admit I was being dumb. We can always go back over together. Thanks, everyone. Okay, I now see that I would be making a huge mistake by prioritizing my friends over my girlfriend. I will talk to them and spend the other nights with my girlfriend. I appreciate everyone's honesty and for helping me here. Also, I edited it to change that I would spend the days with her and enjoy the trip instead of her covering. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Dude, what your friends are asking of you is not just abnormal. Seriously, who wants a group of friends spending their wedding night with them, but also incredibly selfish? You're asking your girlfriend to pay to go on a solo holiday to the venue of your choice, with the exception of the wedding day itself, when she has to present herself for use as your +1 accessory for the ceremony and festivities. Then she can leave again until you rejoin her for the flight home. She's absolutely right. You're not considering her feelings. She's a human being and one you're supposed to care about, not a girlfriend. Doll you can keep tucked away in your suitcase when you don't need her. Clearly you're the jerk. You shouldn't even have to ask. Comment 2. You're the jerk, YTA. It's not only selfish of the bridegroom, but also selfish of you. Your friends don't need you at the hotel every night or need your attention every second. If that ruins their dream, then they can get some therapy, get some medication, and learn a thing about hospitality and care towards others. Don't ruin your relationship over people that will end up at the lowest level in your life. Sorry, but friends end up getting pushed aside after marriage and kids come along. It's normal. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a week since my last post, and wow, a lot has happened. I thought I had it all figured out after reading your comments, but life threw us some curveballs. So after deciding to spend more time with my girlfriend during the trip, I talked to my friends about it. They were surprisingly cool with the idea. Mike even joked about how he'd have one less snoring buddy in the room. I thought everything was set for a smooth trip. But then, 2 days before we were supposed to leave, my girlfriend sat me down for a talk. She confessed that she'd been feeling a bit sidelined ever since the wedding plans started. She reminded me of the time we first met at a local coffee shop where I accidentally spilled my drink on her. We laughed about it back then, and it became our little inside joke. But now, she felt like that clumsy guy who won her over was putting his friends before her. I felt terrible. I hadn't realized how much this was affecting her. I reassured her that she was my priority and that I'd make it up to her in Portugal. Fast forward to Portugal, and the first day was as hectic as expected. I was running around with Mike, getting last-minute things sorted, but I made sure to check in with my girlfriend throughout the day. She seemed to be having a good time getting to know the other guests. The wedding day was beautiful. Mike and Julie looked so happy, and I was proud to stand by my best friend's side. But as the day went on, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off with my girlfriend. She was smiling and socializing, but her eyes didn't have their usual spark. That night, after the ceremony, I found out why. She told me she'd bumped into one of my childhood friends, Eric, who'd had a bit too much to drink. He'd let slip that I had almost missed her birthday last year because I was too caught up in a gaming marathon with the guys. I had never told her the full story, and hearing it from someone else hurt her. I was mortified. I had apologized profusely back then and made it up to her with a surprise dinner, but knowing that my negligence was still a topic among my friends was a low blow. We had a long talk that night. I realized that my actions, past and present, were making her feel like she wasn't as important to me as my friends. I promised her that from now on, I would make sure she never felt that way again. The third day was supposed to be the after party, but instead we spent it exploring Portugal together. It was a day full of laughter, apologies, and promises. We even found a little cafe that reminded us of where we first met, and we recreated the coffee spill, this time on purpose. But then, on the last day, as we were packing to leave, my girlfriend got a call. Her grandmother, who she was very close to, had taken a turn for the worse. She was heartbroken. I immediately dropped everything to be with her. We managed to change our flights to get back home as soon as possible. As we sat in the airport waiting for our flight, she leaned on my shoulder and I held her hand tightly. We were both silent, lost in our thoughts. It was a bittersweet moment. We had reconnected and strengthened our relationship, but now we were heading back to face a family emergency. My boyfriend's mother tried to ruin our baby shower, so I canceled her invite. She played the victim, but the truth about the trust fund left everyone speechless. I, 30-year-old female, and 36-year-old male, have been dating for 8 years. For context, he was raised by a single mother, 70 years old and healthy, of 7 kids who doesn't like any of her children's partners. My partner is the youngest. My boyfriend and I have often spoken about the impact the absence of his father had on him. He told me he wants to be around to raise his future kids. I was raised in a 2-parent household, and I wanted the same for our future kids. We had many discussions and were on the same page about everything. We agreed that we would live together in 4 years, 2019. In 2019, he purchased a building with 5 units. His brother and his family live in 1, wife and 3 kids. My boyfriend and his mother live in 1, and he rents out the other 3. When my boyfriend bought his building, he told me he wanted to give his mother a unit and for me to move in with him. I told him that was very sweet and was on board with it. He said he wanted 2 years to fix up her unit, then she would move out and I would move in, 2021. I already own a home, so the plan was always to move in with him and rent out my house. 2 years ago, I got pregnant, 2021, and this made his mother upset. She wished death on the baby and said that she wanted nothing to do with me or the baby. She made it very clear that she was never going to move out. She told me she is the queen of the house and I would be the queen when she dies. I was furious and asked how she could say such hateful things. My boyfriend spoke to her and they had an argument. He told me he would not force her to move out. I reminded him that his plan was to always put her in her own unit, which is in the same building. He said she was not interested. I suggested that he move in with me, and he said he did not want to live in my city. He said that I should just move in with them. I refused. Why would I want to live with someone who doesn't like me? I asked why he wanted to raise his daughter in a broken home. His mother told me I better get used to being a single mother. She said I only have one, so it won't be that difficult. I live in a different city from my boyfriend. We live an hour apart. When our daughter was born, he spent the first 4 weeks at my house. Every day, he would go home to do something for his mother. This really annoyed me. His mother does not have any ailments and is able to do things for herself. I suggested that he ask his brother to do whatever needs to be done. He told me it wouldn't be possible as his brother is very busy with his family. When I asked him why he had to go home every day, he said his mother needed him because she was feeling lonely. I asked him when he thinks he will cut the umbilical cord. This struck a nerve. His mother got infection 19, and I nursed her back to health. I thought this was the turning point for us. However, once she got better, she became even more hateful towards me. She told me she doesn't like me and never will. I asked her if I did something to her. She told me I hadn't done anything and she just doesn't like me. I spoke to my boyfriend about it, and he told me she never likes anyone he dates. He told me all of his past relationships have ended because of his mother. She was mean to all of his past partners and basically ran them away. He knows he needs to set more boundaries. He says he feels guilty because she was a single mom who took care of him, so now it is his turn to take care of her. I told him that he should prioritize the family that we are building. I asked him when he thinks he will be ready to live his life, and he said when she dies. I told him since he is choosing his mother over his family, remember to choose her in death as well. I will not wait for his mother to die to live my life. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Break up with him. Tell him he is no longer allowed to stay overnight at your house and will either have to leave or stay at a hotel. Get a custody agreement in place. Tell him he is just like his father, and unlike his mother, you won't be waiting around and staying single. You will be happy by yourself, but won't rule out finding a replacement for him to contribute positively to your new family. Comment 2. Tell him he's just like his father, and your daughter will grow up without a stable family, just like he did. Don't wait around until his mother dies. You deserve a man who will put you and your daughter first. Sadly, that is not him. Make a clean break, set up child support and co-parenting arrangements. Move on from this mummy's boy. Now for the update. Hey everyone, it's been a wild week since my last post, and I've got to tell you, things have escalated in ways I never expected. I'm still reeling from the shock of it all. So my boyfriend's mother, the self-proclaimed queen of the house, has been up to her usual antics, but this time she took it to a whole new level. Remember how she wished death on my baby? Well, now she's actively trying to sabotage my relationship with my boyfriend. She's been filling his head with lies, saying that I'm trying to tear their family apart and that I don't respect her role as the matriarch. My boyfriend, bless his heart, is caught in the middle. He's been trying to play peacemaker, but it's clear he's struggling to stand up to his mother. He's always been the one to smooth things over in his family, being the youngest and all. He's told me stories about how he'd mediate fights between his siblings, always trying to keep the peace. But this is different. This is our future he's messing with. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, His mother did the unthinkable. She went into my unit when I was out and trashed the place. I'm talking broken dishes, torn up photos, the works. It was like a tornado had gone through my home. I was devastated. When I confronted her, she just smirked and said it was a warning for me to know my place. I called my boyfriend immediately, and he rushed over. He was horrified by what his mother had done, but instead of confronting her, he started cleaning up the mess. I was furious. I told him that this was not okay, that we needed to address the issue head on. He agreed, but when it came time to talk to his mother, he just couldn't do it. He said he didn't want to upset her further. I reminded him of the time when we first started dating, how he told me he admired my independence and strength. I asked him where that admiration had gone. He looked at me with such sadness in his eyes, and I knew he was torn. He confessed that he felt like he was betraying his mother if he chose me over her. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After all we'd been through, after all our plans for the future, he was still unable to cut the cord. And then, as if things weren't complicated enough, his brother got involved. He came down to our unit, yelling about family loyalty and how I was the problem. I was shocked. This was the same brother who was too busy to help out with their mother, leaving it all on my boyfriend's shoulders. Now he had the nerve to lecture me about family. The argument got heated, and my boyfriend stepped in to break it up. But in the heat of the moment, his brother let slip something that left me speechless. He mentioned a family trust that apparently only my boyfriend and his mother knew about. A trust that would be compromised if my boyfriend and I got married. I turned to my boyfriend for answers, but he just stood there, silent. I couldn't take it anymore. I packed a bag for me and my daughter and left. I needed space to think, to breathe. I went to my parents' house where I've been staying for the past few days. My boyfriend has been calling and texting nonstop, but I haven't been ready to talk. I'm at a crossroads now. I love my boyfriend, but I can't help but feel betrayed. How could he keep something like a family trust a secret from me? And what does this mean for our future? Can I really be with someone who allows his mother to control his life to this extent? I'm not sure where we go from here. I want to believe that we can work through this, but right now, I just don't know. I'm trying to focus on my daughter and what's best for her. But with each passing day, the unresolved conflict between my boyfriend, his mother, and me grows heavier. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.